Since I started the channel, I neglected to do probably the most important thing, which was in my channel introduction. But since we're here, I'll probably make this more than just an introductory, but more of kind of my goals for the channel, as well as my outlook for what I have in mind for content creation. So, as far as channel goals is, the main reason I started this channel was as a way to give back, so to speak, because back when I was younger, probably around like maybe my teens, essentially, basically like the era of where YouTube was more of its hottest and more or less players were at their peak, essentially. And I remember always like watching like videos from like certain people specifically as I grew up and keeping up with them. And in a sense, I kind of want to give back to the community that gave me so much stuff to watch, because as a kid, I didn't really stay in the same school growing up, so I didn't really have that close sense of like friendship with people at school, because, well, I always moved schools like each year basically, maybe even less, so I didn't really have anyone to really talk to. So if anything, watching those videos kind of made me feel a sense of, I don't want to say belonging, but more of like a source of like entertainment, other than going out in the neighborhood doing what normal kids would be doing. So I kind of wanted to use this opportunity to give back, but at the same time, I'm not expecting any monetary gains. Sure, that's the end goal of a lot of people, but if it happens to me, it happens. If it doesn't, well, it's fine too. Because at the end of the day, if someone finds my content that I do, as niche as it is, to be to their liking, then I'm happy to continue providing them free entertainment that they might be found kind of hard to find, because not everyone likes F-Zero GX or is into racing games in the first place, as it is a more of a dying genre in terms of games these days. Especially since, from what I remember, Need for Speed's kind of just dead in the water, especially with Speed Hunters pretty much going down under, if I remember correctly. And I think Criterion, there's something that happened with them as a development team, because the last Need for Speed game they did, I think, Unbound, it didn't do too great, from my understanding. I didn't play it myself. The last Need for Speed game I played was Heat, which, as much as people dog on it, and I still kind of like dog on about it, it was still a good foundation to build off of, but they just never really capitalized on it. I want to say it's maybe perhaps an engine problem, because there were instances where I had a race in the game and models just popped up out of nowhere, but I'm getting off topic. But F-Zero GX specifically will be this channel's main focus for as long as I can possibly continue doing content for, and or if the demand is still there. Because F-Zero GX specifically to me is a game that I hold near and dear to me. Because as a kid, I got the GameCube like during Christmas, and I think F-Zero GX was like one of the main titles that we got back then. Oh, like Mario Kart Double Dash, it was Double Dash. And in most of my friend groups nowadays online, since Double Dash didn't have online back then, I was pretty much undefeated by like, pretty much everyone in my family. Even though my main source of competition was only my older sister, but even then, it was kind of just a one-handed, just no contest thing. But at the same time, even the AI in Mario Kart, it was more that my losses were due to items rather than actual driving. So if it's just the items, my driving alone probably would have just rendered everything as a non-contest. But here's where F-Zero GX comes in. F-Zero GX, as you've probably seen if you watch my previous videos, or if you're just watching this video from my channel for the first time, it's very fast. It can be very input intensive. But at the same time, later difficulties, such as, I think it's like Master and Advanced difficulty, or no, it was Expert, my bad. That really showed that the fangs of this game, so to speak, and how hard this game can get. And notoriously, the story mode of this game, specifically, very hard. And teenage me was stubborn. Because, in my mind, I was able to pretty much, I wouldn't say single attempted or uncontested, just beat everything on my first try, or had little to no difficulties. But at some point, I kind of felt unchallenged. But this game, it humbled kid me. Because every day after I come home from school, did all my homework and whatnot, I'd come back, turn on F-Zero GX, and try to beat the story mode. Yeah, normal difficulty, it took me a few tries back when I was a kid. But when I got to hard and then very hard, oh, I was humbled. Sometimes I'd be kind of like rage quitting, but I wouldn't like throw my controller or anything. I'd just put the controller like down on like my desk or like a table nearby or next to my bed and just kind of flail about in my bed in frustration. And then I stop playing it for the day. But come back the next day, I'm trying it again, just kind of raging my frustration out. And all I had was like a tiny like CRT. It wasn't anything like crazy. It's probably no bigger than like a standard monitor for a CRT. Because most CRTs were huge back then, but my parents got me that small CRT specifically so I'd have a TV on my own instead of playing on the family TV. Which, hey, I'd say it was worth it for how tiny it was and for my purposes of using it. But it took me, I want to say, like years for kid me to even beat the F-Zero GX to 100%. But if anything, it taught me how to be stubborn and persistent, which is the case even now when it comes to challenging things, or at least reasonably challenging, as I specifically said. But I guess F-Zero GX also shaped me as a person to be kind of stubborn, but also take a lot of tries or don't give up in a lot of aspects. Because again, I'd come back home to school every day with this game up and try to beat everything 100% to the best of my ability. And I think Chapter 1 of this game specifically, I think was probably the hardest story level to do on, very hard, specifically because of how the level is designed. So remember, I think when I was older, was that people had mentioned there was a statistic back in the day. I don't know if that's still true now, but I think like 95% of people have never beaten the very hard difficulty of Chapter 1, very hard on story. And that was due to, there was some talk of like frame perfect like turns or things you had to do to complete the game. But as I heard this, I'd already beaten the game long before I even followed any guides or anything, because this was at the time period where the online presence or like guide community wasn't really a thing. It was just the Nintendo Power magazines and maybe other very niche things, but in terms of sales and like presence, F-Zero GX did terribly to the eyes of like Nintendo. So again, not much presence for the game in the first place, and I didn't have much resources to even put the stuff up in the first place. And then I had a computer at the time. So it's just me trying whatever, didn't stick until something finally worked. So I guess that's why F-Zero GX is very near and dear to me, and hence why this channel will be based off of that. So if F-Zero GX is something you're interested in, by all means, I will continue to posting F-Zero GX content, whether it be more story runs or perhaps in the future where I do accomplish my full clear every difficulty on every machine. Perhaps I'll come up with a challenge, or maybe you in the comments sections can come up with a challenge of some sort for me to do with this game. So, it won't be lateral shifting unless it's by popular request that I learn lateral shifting. But with that being said, I'm just looking to give back to the community that gave something to look forward to as a kid who didn't really get to grow up with many childhood friends. With that being said, I hope you stick around. My schedule for the time being, as of me recording this, will be Tuesdays and Thursdays we'll always have a Terraria video up. Fridays we'll always have an F-Zero GX video. Depending on how things go, I might up the speed or amount of videos that I post a week, but that will remain to be seen. And as I'm recording this is around like 3 a.m. my birthday, so ironic that I'm getting my introductory video done now of all days. But hey, better late than never. So, with that being said, I hope you stick around. Whether you work around or if you actively comment, I will appreciate it either way. I might consider my little give back quota to be fulfilled. So, with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next video.